All right, there's no use messing around. Let's dive right into tomorrow and
Okay,
see what you
serious.
think are the critical issues. But we will talk about the other Mag 7 members who report tomorrow, and we will talk about the economy in general and new data that came out about the consumer today, because I think it was important. So, Nicholas,
Yes,
what are
sir.
we hoping for tomorrow? And I mean, there's a difference, right? What are you hoping for? What do you expect?
Um, I made a prediction last time. I don't remember what it was though. What was my prediction?
5:15,
Oh,
5:15
5:15. Shit.
by Friday or Monday. Yeah.
By Friday or Monday. Yeah. Probably not gonna happen, especially now. And it's not my fault. You guys have to give me a break on this. Like I
Okay.
have to have an out
Okay.
because
Okay.
it can't be that I try to use all my power, all my influence out there to get the stock up to the 500, 515, and then frickin' Jim Cramer comes out and he has to sit there and say that he thinks that we're going to get on the earnings call and the stock's just going to go up and up and up and up and up. And it's like, dude, why? Why do you do that to me? Why do you do that to all of us? So the fastest way to fight off Kramer is to like and subscribe to Randy and to go follow me on X. So
Yes.
that's the fastest way. But yeah, so Randy, honestly I was feeling pretty confident going into the earnings call, and not to say I'm like really superstitious or anything, but like yeah, that kind of spooked me when he said that because the inverse Kramer is real.
It's real. Yeah. 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 Now, I've been kind of playing around in my mind today with things like there's only so much money. Okay. And so if there's only so much money and people are already piling into silver, piling into gold, and they're got four of the Megs, no, three of the Meg 7 besides Tesla the rest of this week, and all three of them are getting pretty good vibes, pretty good
Yeah,
vibes. And
we
so
got
people,
Meta.
yeah,
What is it? Meta, Microsoft,
no,
Tesla.
Meta, NVIDIA, and wait,
Nvidia's not this week.
that's Meta, Microsoft, and Apple.
You
You said
see,
Microsoft, and I said no. Yeah,
yeah,
I know. Yeah.
and
Okay.
you said Nvidia. So I was gonna say like I
Oh,
got
it's
some
not NVIDIA.
problems.
It's not
You
NVIDIA.
that's what you said.
I, anyway, I could imagine that some of the money that gets parsed out during this run up to the day could be going into those stocks instead of into Tesla.
I think they go into Meta and Tesla, and I think Apple's in trouble.
But their numbers are, I mean, they're expecting decent sales increase. They're expecting the stock to go up. I mean, that's what I'm reading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're expecting that. I I think Apple has problems.
Well, we got to get rid of Cook. I guess that's supposed to happen soon.
I don't know.
You don't
I
know.
we'll see what happens, but I think Microsoft kind of had a little bit of a run already, and I think Apple is just out of favor now.
Okay.
Like Apple is not a growth company anymore, and
hmm
so
hmm
it's got a big valuation short, but I don't even think it should be considered Max 7 at this point.
Okay. All right. Okay. For other reasons, of course. All right. So the other thing I was thinking about this week is at first I thought, well, they take the two riders out of two cars, and they've added about I don't know 20 or something more cars. That would be stimulative. And then as we got closer and closer, I'm thinking, yeah, for the bulls and the crazy people like you and me, but for the average person, that's kind of like I don't know, like a little pebble in the pond. I think maybe folks are wanting more.
Well, I mean, we saw the driverless people or the driverless robo taxis, and like if it's real, you'd be like, all right, let's scale it. Like, so again, all these things are it's gonna be, there's steps along the way and they're trying to do due diligence. And it sounds like there were a lot of follow cars along with those. And again, they're being very cautious. I'm hoping that's all it is. I'm hoping that there's not a lingering problem that keeps
Popping up.
tripping them up. Yeah. Because, if you think about it, there probably is something that keeps coming up because otherwise, what? I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
have no idea. I'm speculating. This is where I get annoyed with some of these earnings call questions because there's such an opportunity to try to get them to actually answer substantive questions, but instead, what people try to do is ask a very irrelevant question to the company, first of all, just selfish question, and like the SpaceX question, for example. Like, frankly, that's a stupid question, in my opinion. But instead, they could ask one question that is nuanced, specific, that Elon can't necessarily sidestep. But instead, people try to layer 16 questions into one question. And it's like, yeah, pick your poison, Elon. You've got all these outs. You don't have to like punt to a Shock or anyone else. So I don't know. It frustrates me. It's the questions used to be decent
Hmm.
to good,
Hmm.
and now I sit down the earnings call just waiting for the analysts to ask actual good questions. And it's talk about irony. This whole say question started because of
How
that
bad?
one earnings call and Golly on YouTube and all that, and now here we are. So,
Here we are. Okay,
anyways,
so a perfect Wednesday. You're opening your Christmas present, from your son. He's 10 and he's got enough intelligence to buy you a decent Christmas present. Anyway, and so you're going to open that tomorrow at 4:30 your time. No, 5:30 your time. 5:30 your time. And and what's contained in that present?
it's called AI Rising. It's this book, fantastic book. If you haven't read it, it's amazing. Go get it. I heard that there's some really good authors in there. Uh, some are a little out there, but they're all brilliant and they're all beautiful. And you should all go check it out. So yeah, I hope he gets me that book.
That's it. Okay. So you don't have any hopes or dreams about tomorrow at 2:30.
Um, no, I think tomorrow what I would like for them to talk about is how this is finally going to scale. Talk about actual cities, give actual concrete milestones, explain in a cogent way why we've had, I don't want to say that we've had delays, but we have
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Elon told us something.
Right.
Elon isn't meeting up to what he said he was going to do. That deserves an explanation.
Right.
If Elon, again, I love the guy, I love when he does this, but he puts his foot in his mouth. He told us to expect something. It's only rational for the analyst to say, explain yourself. Why didn't you meet this? And give us a good answer, not some BS answer.
Right.
So if he could explain it in a good way, in an optimistic way, and if we can understand, okay, yeah, I know we had those hiccups, but it's because of X, Y, Z,
Mhm.
and now we're back on track, and now we're scaling. You can see we've already started driverless robotaxis. We've got X amount out there right now. We are going to slowly keep scaling it out, a few every single day. And we're expanding in Austin and in California. We're getting set to launch in whatever cities. We're just maybe it's not us. Maybe he says it's not us.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on these couple regulatory things and for them to finish. And until then, we're going to keep scaling here. And the longer they take, the faster we'll scale here. Like, there's so many ways to paint this in a very good way. So I hope that's what he does. And yeah, just paint that optimistic, vision.
Okay. So I was hoping my top of not top of my list, but about two or three down on the list is I was hoping he would give us more information on actual factory starts. So we'd be talking about more mega packs factories. We'd be talking about the chip factory, possibly the solar factory. Those would be three factory things he could lay on us, that there's actually a timeline or there's already dirt flying or whatever the situation is.
Um, uh, yeah, I it just so those are two different questions though. So that's not going to move the needle on the stock.
No, I don't care about that. I'm just
You
interested.
don't care about the stock at all.
Well, I care about the stock, but I'm more interested in the future. I'm interested
Okay,
in these are exciting, super exciting things that he's doing. And
fair.
so,
But is that
so
really the gift that you want tomorrow at
I
4:30?
said,
Is
I said it was like
that?
the third one. I've already opened the other two.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Yeah,
the okay,
yeah,
third gift. I think you meant like the third thing that you hope he discusses. Okay, so that's your third present.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, wait, but what's your first present then?
Oh no, I definitely want to know what's happening with Robotaxi. Yes, it's right at the top of the list, of
Okay.
course. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
that's the Elmo for everybody.
Yeah, and of course, second before those brand new futuristic things would be some update on Optimus, because
Okay.
what we know now is he's building an, and there's another factory. I forgot about the fourth factory. He says he's building an 8 million square foot factory just for Optimus.
Hmm.
So I'd like to have a little more hair on that one. When is it starting? Is it already started? Is it going to be south or north of the existing factory? Blah, 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 blah. And because he said he thought it could be done by early next year. The factory itself could be ready to go.
Okay.
So that'd be number
Well,
two for me.
okay. And so, but what do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
No, that's what I asked you.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, I do think we're gonna have everything I just talked about, and I still do think that we're gonna. I know the inverse Kramer thing, and I joke about it because it is real,
Uh-huh.
but I do think that tomorrow is gonna be a really good day for Tesla, and I think we're gonna have a good. I think we're gonna have a good pop, um, in the aftermarket.
So usually that pop happens because Elon's in a good mood and he's articulate and he's able to talk about these futuristic things in a way that even the morons, even the institutional investors get, right?
Yeah, well, honestly, I think it'd be awesome if like I don't know. I was gonna say, Elon always said that he'll stop showing up to the calls whenever
Oh,
there's no problems or anything.
yeah,
And part of me is kind of like, things do seem to be pretty good right now at Tesla. Like maybe this is one that he could just let everyone else handle it. But at the same time, if he did that, people would be like, "Oh, Elon's distracted again." So
yeah, and it's fourth quarter. I mean, he's not going to skip fourth
yeah.
quarter. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think we're gonna have good results tomorrow. I think Elon will be in a good mood. He's got no reason not to be right now, I would say. And I mean, like the whole company should be getting really excited. I mean, like it's all happening right now as they're going. It seems there's a tracker out there for how many road taxis are in Austin and Cali,
Right.
and it's just growing.
Yeah.
They're clearly adding more and more. So it's again, it's not as fast as I guess we would all like, but again, if he could even give any color on that, on like when do we actually start to see the speed up, that would
Right.
be that I think it'd be really impactful. Okay, so now you tell me, what do you think?
What do I think's gonna happen? I think he'll be in a good mood. Again, like you say, he doesn't really have any reason not to be. He's
Yeah,
having fun right now, I think. I think he's really enjoying what he's doing. I think that he will address the issue of the IPO, but simply to say, yes, that's my plan. But we're working on how does that come out? But he won't be able to give any details of that, so nobody will be satisfied. But I'm pretty sure you and I already talked about that he'll use some of that traditional 20 to 30% of the IPO that you can uh, provide a prior offer to you know good friends and
yeah.
members, friends and
I
family.
I feel like it's more likely that Tesla buys into the IPO.
Tesla buys into the IPO so that we all get that. So I put
Yeah.
out that yesterday or Monday, sometime over the weekend, that they buy 49% of Tesla. Sorry, SpaceX buys 29%, 49% of Tesla, and Tesla buys 49% of them.
I don't think either would be able to do that.
Well, it might be a stock swap or something.
Yeah, but no, I could see Tesla putting in like 10, 15, 20 billion into SpaceX.
Hmm.
I mean, it'd be a lot of their capital, of their
Right,
free cash flow. I mean, they might take out debt just to do it.
right.
That might be a good use of it. But but I could see that because otherwise, what's considered an early investor?
Well, I think to me, I'm not sure that that would be easy to do unless you just said if the IPO was October 1st and you said anybody that's a shareholder on August 15th or whatever.
But
I
that
don't
wouldn't be an
think,
early investor.
well, yeah, so I don't think you can go back. I think it would be hard, very hard to go back. Uh,
Yeah,
I think it'd be, so I don't think it'll be, I don't think that will be how they determine an early investor. I think it'll be, that's what I just think. I think they'll use that method as they do with so many things like voting, you know.
that's what I'm saying. It's just cleaner if Tesla owns a piece of it, and it's
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
you wanna, you know,
Yeah.
it also incentivizes people who own Tesla to not sell their Tesla to buy SpaceX,
Right, right.
potentially at least.
That's true. That's true. Okay, well, and then number four on my list, which is I think it could be number one sometimes on some days, I just really want to know more about the battery thing, because I just feel like every single product needs those batteries. We need those 4680s. It seemed like they said they were darn near to being, fully ramped on the first line. 2 years ago, we were told there'd be 5 lines in Reno, 2 lines in Texas, and a line in Berlin. Is that happening? Is it going to happen? So that's another one that's high on my list.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it's important. I agree. It's just it's important, but it's not at the same time because if they could just solve the robotaxi problem, right, and they could scale that, forget about the battery part of it. Like it doesn't matter. Like you could just literally live off of robo taxis and then
Forever. Yeah.
have all the time and spend on humanoids,
Right.
but they got to scale. I mean, it's there's like it's like you got these like little things are like, okay, that's exciting, like the lemonade stuff, and we see a couple of driverless robo taxis out there. We see some cyber cab um, testing and all that. Like, yeah, okay, that's exciting. But at the same time, a lot of all those signals almost are like, okay, but where's that like confidence? It's almost like there's no confidence. It's like they're so timid, and we just need that moment of confidence. And once you get that confidence, I think that's when the stock will appropriately, have a reaction. Not saying it'll sustain that reaction, but I can understand why it's timid
Yeah.
because it's like, all right, are we doing this or not? It's like the never-ending foreplay, and it's like let's get to it. Like let's do something. Show me that you can take control.
Well, that wasn't the analogy that I came up with. I came up with this analogy. He has launched rockets time and time and time again. And that's got to be more, uh, put you more on edge than launching a new product. And so you're sitting there and you're going, okay, okay, okay. And it's launching and you're waiting to see if it blows up or whatever. And so he's done this a bunch of times, new rockets, new ones that needed to be tested and whatnot. And so I'm looking at this as like even more important, I think, in his mind than Model 3 or Model Y, because I don't think he thought any Model 3s or Model Ys would kill anybody or hurt anybody more than a regular car would, and that it wouldn't be the headline of 2026 if somebody gets knocked down. So I
Mhm.
sense that could be that's what I think would be going on his head is okay, when I do this, we can't have any kind of issues inside the fuel tanks or inside I can't be getting any negatives anywhere on this launch.
Yeah, I mean you're probably right, but at the same time, I don't know if I don't know. Something seems amiss, and I'm hoping it's all being ironed out quickly. It's when I say the confidence, it's like even just opening up a new city. Why aren't we opening up new cities yet? you know, you're going to be essentially 30 days past when you said that these things would happen. You know, you said 7, 8 cities by the end. You said
Yeah.
covering half of all of the United
Right.
States.
Right.
You know, it's like, all right, like
Let's do
you
it.
literally, you did zero. He did zero of the things he said he was going to do.
Right. Right.
Like zero.
Zero. Yeah.
Something's
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we
Okay.
we, we
All right.
need an explanation.
All right. So you said, so we get Microsoft and Meta tomorrow, Apple on Thursday. You said Apple shouldn't even be Mag 7. Microsoft and Meta are not impressing me right now, although maybe Microsoft can still impress me later. Do you think Microsoft is still in the, do you think Meta is still in the game when it comes to this AI race?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
very much so.
Okay. And Microsoft, because they own OpenAI, are their own separate effort.
Well, they don't open AI. They don't own
Well, okay,
OpenAI
that's right.
yet,
Yeah, yeah, okay,
right?
right.
They've kind of had a lot of tremors in that
Yes.
relationship. I mean, I've talked about this. I do think that Microsoft will eventually buy OpenAI,
Mm,
because I don't think OpenAI will be able to. Either OpenAI is just going to go dead, or Microsoft is going to buy them. Would be my guess.
okay.
Um, but I'm sure Microsoft is doing good on their own right now, and I think you'll see that tomorrow. But you know, look, Nvidia was like the place to be, and they still are as far as the AI revenue. And I think you're starting to see, or you've been seeing that more and more into these data center build outs. So
Mhm.
now the cash also showing up there. So you can see it slowly working its way. It went from just a chip to now it's the entire data center ecosystem. And now you're going to, you know, and eventually you'll see it continue to go up. So I think the cloud companies are going to be the next ones to really
Mhm.
start benefiting from the consumption.
Mhm.
But until we see robotaxi, I don't think anyone's really going to see the revenue from an actual AI solution product, you know, in the way that we think when we think AI.
The other thing that's going to happen tomorrow, it's so interesting that we get this too, is the Fed.
Mm,
Last time the Fed met, you correctly predicted what they would do, or at least half correctly predicted what they would do. Um, well, that's
I,
what
I,
well, you said they would cut, and you said they would be, it would be a hawkish cut.
and I think it was.
Oh, I see. So that was your interpretation.
Yeah, that was.
Okay. All right. So the Fed is out tomorrow. What's going to happen tomorrow?
Nada,
Nada.
nada. They're going to stand pat, stand firm.
And hawkish, what's the future?
Neutral,
Neutral, neutral,
neutral,
right in neutral.
data dependent, waiting.
So the data, I think you and I might have talked about this last week. I don't remember, but truflation is now down to 1.18%. And that's across the board. That's goods, that's services, that's PCE, that's core. Everything is like closing in on 1%. Housing is, personal dwellings is down like 1%. I'm sorry, no, yeah, 1%. Rental down 1%. Groceries actually deflating, according to Truflation. Chair Powell says that they pay attention to truflation. And then you've got the Atlanta Fed saying that the businesses that they're talking about think that it's going to be at 2% this year. And then you have the last 6 months, I'm sorry, the last 3 months of the CPI core at 1.6, according to President Trump. And I looked it up. I asked Grok, and it's true.
For the last how long?
3 months, the last three
3 months.
months,
Yeah, 3 months.
1.6. Yeah.
The problem is that JP doesn't care about truflation. He might have said it, but it's just the easy way to dismiss a question is say, yeah, we look at it. And guess what? There, no more questions. It's over. If he says, well, we don't really, like, he has to have an explanation now, right? Against why he would be against real-time data,
Yeah.
or why it's not valid, right? You have to disprove it. Instead, if he just says, yeah, we take it into account.
Yeah.
That's it. End of
That's what he said.
discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So So I don't think he actually does. I don't think he likes it. I think he's just old school guy. And honestly, I think he's at a point where he's like, we're in January right now. He's got till May.
Right,
So he got 4 months he's got to survive without
right.
screwing things up. And then it's the next person's issue. And I think that's what he's riding on.
Do you buy Truflation's numbers? Do you think that we really are closing in on 1%?
Um, I think it's a data point. I don't think it's accurate 100%. It might be accurate in the point in time, but I think to truly understand inflation, you have to look wider. It's like if you're looking at a trend on a stock, right? And you see one day it's a red candle. That doesn't really tell you the whole picture. You kind of need more data points out there. And so that's where I think kind of a mix between CPI and Truflation is a nice kind of middle ground. CPI is very laggy in many
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
And again, just the way they do it is kind of archaic. But Truflation at the same time is just, it's got a lot of recency bias to it. So I think kind of taking both into account would be the right approach. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're in the low twos to two to high ones right now
Mhm.
when it comes to inflation. Like it would not surprise me at all.
So the economy is doing great, and Boeing reported this morning. I asked Grok for an analysis, and they said that Boeing contributes 0.2% of GDP. That's in a normal year, but right now they are sold out. They're at max production. It's not just them, it's all the feedstock, all the different companies. I forget 1.2 million employees are make a living because of Boeing. And they said that when they're max production, it could add another 0.2% to GDP. So that would be just one more thing on this 5.4 that GDP Now confirmed yesterday. They're still at 5.4 for the fourth quarter.
Well, don't forget, I bet you we're about to have the longest government shutdown
Oh,
we've ever had.
well, the president did pull back in Minneapolis.
Sort of.
Yeah, he just pulled, yeah, he pulled back. Do you think that's because of the shutdown, or do you think that's because the headlines were starting to go negative?
Um, I think it's no, people say this stuff. I think it's kind of a shallow interpretation. It's not because the headlines are negative, right? Headlines being negative is signal that, hey, what we're doing right now is becoming too much of a distraction. Let's pivot our move. Let's put Holman in there instead. Let's try to lower the temperature. Because at the end of the day, you're not striving to make the media headlines, like give them all this salacious stuff. You're trying to you get the job done.
Right.
And so I think they're just switching up their tactic. That's what I think is happening. Trying to quiet things down a little bit. And I think that's all that's happening. I don't think he's pulling back because of headlines or anything like that. He's pulling back because I don't think he's trying to make all this noise. I don't think that's
So,
that's the goal of this.
so if he pulls back enough, wouldn't that give Schumer an opportunity to also pull back and say, why do I want to get my negative headlines from shutting down the government again?
Um, no, I don't think so.
No. So he just wants to pile on.
Well, what choice does Schumer have, especially when what they want is to see uh, essentially a decrease in funding in DHS and all its affiliates.
Yeah, but he's not going to ever get that. I mean, they could shut it down
Shut the government down.
they could shut it down for a year, and Trump's not going
That's
to pull the funding on DHS.
but that's why I'm saying, we
Yeah,
might see
the
the
longest
longest.
shutdown.
I'm, these people care more about being reelected by the mob than actually doing their job and having some kind of backbone. Like,
So do you
there's a
think,
reason we don't live in a democracy. There's a reason for
yeah,
that.
right, right.
This
So,
is why.
so do you think that the longest shutdown ever will really hurt the economy, or do you think it just limits the amount of information we get again for a couple of months?
Well, it does both is the thing. Invariably it hurts the economy because the economy is is a it's just it domino effects. There's a lot of businesses, industries that want to know what's the next step of what's going to happen with the Fed, monetary policy, the government. Can they buy conscious? Can they not? And it slows everything down in the economy because people are on wait and see. They can't make decisions. So that will have an effect on the economy, I think. Now, I'm not open for a long shutdown. I hope you're right. I hope Schumer finds this as a window to just make peace or at least get to a point where we can have a spending bill done. But if it's, I mean, there's nothing that tells me that things are different now from last time. And Schumer has all the same reasons to want to keep a government shut down again. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard to understand why they wouldn't keep it shut down and make crazy demands again. I mean, you tell me, what do you think is going to
I
happen?
think I think that Schumer again is a political animal, and I have a real strong sense that he will not win this one in the headlines.
I hope you're right. I mean,
Yeah,
in general, this should just be non-negotiable. Period. We have to keep the government open.
right. Period. Yeah.
We have to fund these people. Men and women in the armed services should not go without pay. It's just bad. We just gotta get past this era of extreme divided politics and everybody making and both sides. I don't want to say both sides do it, but they both kind of do it, but they both hold it as hostage. And I don't think it's good. I think I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. I think you're in there, and if you can't pass the budget, I think everybody in red, white, blue, I don't care what party you're affiliated with, you should be banned from running for office again.
Right. Right.
As a Buffett rule, have
Yeah.
to have a balanced budget
By a certain day. Yeah.
by a certain date. That's it.
Our
That's your only job. You don't have any other job. It's that. Get that done. That's it. I don't care how you get to it. I don't care what you have to cut. I don't have to care what you increase. I don't care how you divvy up the pie. Figure it out. You got plenty of money.
So the president is trying to make things affordable. That's his only job right now in terms of getting the House and Senate that he wants in the fall. In the fall is to take that one off the table to triangulate the Democrats on that particular issue. On housing affordability, Zillow came out yesterday and said that the average family with the average income can afford the average house with just 32% of their income, which is a fine number. It's down from 36%, I think last year or the year before. And 36% gets a little tough, but people will loan you money at 40% of the, depending on your credit rating. But 32% is a good number, and they think it's going to continue to go down, especially if we get some more mortgages cutting, at least a little, doesn't take much to get that number down. So, do you think, I mean, and of course, the president has continuously made a lot of noise about getting the price of housing down, like telling BlackRock they can't be buying up neighborhoods. So do you think this will eventually, do you believe he's doing enough to convince the public that housing is something he cares about, that he's working on, and that some of it's working?
Well, the here's the thing. I don't think the problem is actually the price of houses. I think that's kind of a misnomer. Is it part of the equation? Sure. But when banks loan you money, they they don't actually look at they don't look at the whole picture to see what you can afford, right? One, they look at your gross.
Mhm.
They don't necessarily look at your net. And then two, they look at the principal and interest.
Mhm.
They don't factor in taxes. They don't factor in insurance. In fact, normally they don't even know what those are until after you've already been approved for the loan because you buy the insurance before you close, right? So taxes are extremely expensive. Insurance are extremely expensive. Interest rates are high, and you've had high mortgage prices. So it's not like it's just the house coming down. you still have the other effects on insurance, taxes, interest rates. And
Mhm.
yeah, interest rates have come down a little bit, but not much, really. At least not on the 30-year. Just because the primes dropped doesn't mean the 30-year has reflected too much. So I think that it's not it's not just that either. People are feeling like I watch these videos on YouTube all the time. Like partly this might sound gross, but they're kind of entertaining. But also, it's just kind of it keeps you humble
Mhm.
and keeps you grateful for what you have. But you watch these people and they're struggling. They're struggling bad. They're working multiple jobs. They can barely afford, to keep food on the table. They're using credit cards for bills that are late. And look, I'm sure they've made mistakes in the past. I'm sure they're still not having the best spending and money habits. But the point is that people used to be able to get away with this and survive. And now people are at a point where they can't even survive. And it's not like this has happened in the last year, right? This has happened over the past 5 years, right? Where we've seen it's just it's like we've normalized almost on where prices are, but it's like that effect of okay, well the damage has been done and now we haven't really reversed the damage and now it's really starting to weigh on. It's like that same damage hasn't been fixed. It's like you hurt your leg and
Mhm.
you didn't go to the doctor or anything. It's like, yeah, you were fine for a couple days. Now it's a couple weeks. Now it's a year. And it's like that time is just making it hurt even more and more and more. And I think that's what's happening is people haven't been able to get out from under. Even though we don't see inflation rise as much as it was, it's still up there. And everyone can talk about wages are rising, but not fast enough to compensate for everything that we had growth, right? So
Yeah.
so if
So
you're
the
on the lower
accumulated,
end,
the
yeah,
accumulated, you're talking about the accumulated. And I would throw in that the one thing that is, it's not new, it's like 35 years now, but the student loan debt, I think, is something that people have, is really ruining a lot of lives, or at least contributing to the fact that they can't get ahead. But I'm going to be a boomer for a minute.
a
Okay.
minute.
A minute.
What are you gonna be after?
When I was in law school full time, I had two jobs.
Oh
While
yeah,
I was in law school, they weren't full-time jobs, but my third year, I had a full-time job and was traveling while I was in law school. And it wasn't some schleppy night school. It was UCLA Law, the ninth highest rated law school in the world.
what were your jobs?
Huh? I
What were
was a
your jobs?
waiter at Mario's Italian restaurant, and I was a printer at the student union.
Okay, and how much were those paying?
Oh, the waiter's job was paying me $5 an hour, including tips. And the
And
and the other one I think was probably close to $2 an hour, something like that. It was higher than
okay,
the minimum. It was way higher than the minimum wage. That's why I learned how to be a printer because I knew I could always make money as a printer anywhere in the country.
and how much was your student loan?
None, zero, never took a nickel.
How much was your student expenses for the college, the
The
university?
college, well, UCLA was pretty expensive back then, UCLA Law, but it was nothing like today. The universities are charging, it's a horrible amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bet you if
Mhm.
I took the amount you're making per hour with those two jobs
Mhm.
and somebody else took two jobs as well, and we
Mhm.
divided that by how much school is, I bet you it's not the same.
So my grandchildren are currently going to, one of them, she just finished private university, four-year school, not even a public school, but a private university. My second, her brother is now in a private four-year school. Both of them worked while they were in high school, saved up their money. Their parents are contributing, so there's help there, but most parents contribute if they can. They didn't get much in the way of scholarships. A lot of people get huge scholarships. I had the head of the Riverside University of Riverside's right here, and he came to one of our chamber meetings and he said pretty much everybody gets a scholarship. So you can't look at the number that's being posted out there. Almost everybody gets a scholarship. My son was only 8 years ago. He's 30. Went to one of the best colleges in California, which was Cal Poly Slow. And when he got out of school, he had zero, zero, zero in terms of in terms of a loan. He worked before he went to college. He worked during college, you know. So
I
I'm
hear
sorry.
you, but again, if we put the math down on paper,
Yeah,
like you're saying it and you're kind of painting with broad strokes here, and you quickly went through like their parents are helping, but most parents pay if they can. Most
yeah.
parents can't help.
Most.
Most parents can't
Wrong.
help. Most kid, no, don't trust me. Go look it up. I promise you. Most
Okay. All
parents
right. All
can't,
right.
right? So there's a lot of broad strokes for painting here. They had jobs. Okay, well, they were able to have jobs. Did they have good education coming up? Do they have to do you have to get extra help? Did they get any help when they're going in high school so they could be better prepared when in college? Maybe these other people are all on their own. Maybe they had to work also on their high school. Maybe they're finally taking their education serious when like everyone's story is different.
But
And I'm
most of,
just saying, like, if you put, yeah, you can't say most about anything because every story is individualized. But if you put the numbers down on paper, I guarantee you, when the boomer that you are, if you compare that to what most people have today, and most people do not have a two-parent household. Most people do not have parents that are helping them with their education. Most people, most people, like I think a third of all millennials, for example, are living back at home with their parents. Like
right,
that's what we're talking about.
right.
Yeah. So for you to even use your grandkids or even your kids as an example, they are the outlier.
So I guess I would say that you get to make decisions the entire time that
I agree.
you get to make decisions. You get to make a decision what kind of classes you take. You get to make a decision of whether you want to loan or do you want to work hard. Do you want to work before you go? Do you want to work hard on scholarships? Because some
I
people,
agree.
I even felt like my grandkids didn't work as hard as they could to get scholarships. But you can get them. I didn't get it. I got one scholarship, I think, for $500 or something. And I was married for my senior year
Randy,
in undergrad.
I get everything you're about to say. I
Right.
agree. We all can make our own decisions.
Yeah.
But it is also true that not everybody has people to help them
Oh, of course.
think through decisions.
But the people that don't ha oh, the people that don't have the people to help them with decisions, do you know how many administrators there now are in colleges compared to the number of professors? Now, and who are those administrators? Counselors, therapists, people that can help them make decisions.
But what gives you what makes you think that they're there to do anything other than to upsell them or to encourage them to continue to
Oh,
make the
that's
same bad decisions?
well. Then let's go into the universities and sue them for the horrible thing they're doing to our kids.
They should.
They should.
It is horrible. Like they again, you can I think almost you can only put so much blame, in my opinion, on kids because they are kids. They're going to school and being allowed to take out these crazy loans. The
Mhm.
onus should be on the banks because the banks will never let you take any other loan out like that. The onus
Right,
should be on the
right,
universities.
right.
Universities are selling essentially fraud. All right. They're selling a dream. They're selling a vision, a hope that if you go and you just come and you study and you follow your passion, you follow your dreams, right? Because that's what we tell kids. Hey, you can be anything you want to be. No, bull. Bull. You cannot be anything you want to be. All right. You should strive for what you're good at. You should strive for what you're passionate about. You can't just be anything you want to be. You can't. There's so many people who are told just go to college, just get that degree, and you'll be fine. And so what do people do? They go to school, they go to college, they take classes. They all they're thinking is, I just need to get a degree. I just need to get a degree. And that's as far as they've ever been taught, as far as they've ever been told. There's no guidance, So it's look, there is an onus responsibility on the kids. But again, if a kid is growing up in a broken family, which most houses are broken families, with no example of what good looks like, what using money responsibly looks like, and all you know is, well, everyone takes out loans for school. It's just what you do. You don't know better. Even though if you could like sit there and have someone force them to actually think through this, they would probably sit there and be like, wow, I've never really thought about it. It's just like everyone told me like this is what you're supposed to do. So it's like I've been told this my whole life since I was in kindergarten. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. Don't worry about how you're going to pay for it. That's what loans are for. That's why the system's there to help you. Like I can understand And I think the onus, again, does fall onto the banks and the universities, and obviously the students as well, because at the end of the day, they do have decisions, and the parents. So I'm not, look, you know me, I'm not here to, coddle anybody, but I can empathize, understand how people can get into a very bad situation early on in life, and they're fighting uphill from the second. And they may not even know that they're making bad decisions until 6, 7 years after they're out of college. And then they're finally waking up like, oh my God, what did I
Still owe
do?
all this money.
Yeah, well,
No,
not
no,
just that, but
I'm with you. I can empathize, but that doesn't, it's like at some point you made some bad decisions. Now it's time to,
well, at some point we all made bad decisions to not speak up. At some point, Randy and the other boomers are making bad decisions that by not sitting there and saying, hey, we got a problem with these universities and these banks. Like you can't just be giving out these loans like this. That's just not that's unconscionable to me. Like
yeah,
I really do think the banks, universities, and the government should all have a lawsuit against them for allowing this to happen. It should literally be illegal.
yeah.
It should
So,
not be
yeah,
illegal for someone to be able to take out that type of loan for a degree
with
that
no
cannot
return.
pay it back. It
Yeah.
should be absolutely illegal.
So as while we're on that, let's bring up the other two issues that are being addressed on the affordability thing by the Trump administration. Number one is the 10% cap on interest rates. What do you think?
I think it's a horrible idea. I get it, but I think it's a bad idea.
So Texas is
Um,
already doing it. Abbott is one
that doesn't make it a good idea.
oh, okay.
It's you're getting in the way of the free market.
I know.
I understand. Again, I can empathize with the idea, and I understand the idea behind it, but I think you're getting in the way of the free market. You're going to look. There are certain people that all credit card companies are really going to do. I don't know what Texas is doing, but this is what will happen. Mark my words. If that passes, you're just going to have them make the criteria to get a credit card loan even harder.
Yeah.
Or you're just going to see more of these 0% interest rate for 1 year. And after that 1 year is over, guess what? Boom, right back where we were. And so they'll sucker in a lot more people in. Like
Well, no, because it
it's
can't be
not
more
going to
than
be
10%. Can't be more than 10%.
for 1 year.
Well, I think that's just a test. That's a
I don't
test to
think it's a
see what
test.
the banks will do. So my theory is that you want the free market, okay, but in the free market you're not allowed to hire kids under 10 for the coal mines, okay,
Okay.
and we don't want that. So for all of time, it's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, usury is as bad as hiring children to work in the coal mines. Usury is something you don't want to happen out there. And the usurious nature of these loans is also impacting those same kids that you're talking about because when they get behind, what do? They go out and get the credit card. They get the credit. I'm more concerned about the decision that I am more empathize with the decision that somebody makes to go get the credit card because they can't buy groceries than I am the decision that even though they were younger and stupider, the decision that they made to take out those loans in college, the credit card thing can get you in trouble so fast, and keep you in trouble for a very, very long time. So and I did a whole analysis of it, and the credit card companies. When I was growing up, and I'm sorry, this is a boomer thing, but it was way past when I was growing up, into the 60s, maybe even the 70s, top was 12%. Nothing has changed in the economy that means banks can't make money on credit cards at 12%.
Well, that's I don't know if that's true.
What would it be? They're not paying any more for the money.
No, no. It's the risk profile of the individual trying to get the loan
But
has
that's it. So
increased.
yes, some people will
So
not be
that's
able
what
to get
rates are
loans.
based off of.
Yeah, so some people won't be able to get loans. It's true.
But okay, so what happens to and this is
Yeah,
where the argument
yeah,
becomes the question.
yeah.
What happens to the people that are literally paying their food bill for the month on a
Yeah.
credit card, but now they don't qualify? Do they
Right.
just
So
not eat?
what happened to those people in the 60s and the 70s? What happened to those people in ancient
But
times when
but
there was no credit cards?
uh, things were different back then. People weren't like
Why do you
they
want these
weren't
people to get in trouble?
they weren't in the situation that they are now, right? Like we're talking about, it's like you're saying like, hey, people back then they'd get a cold and they'd be fine. Like, okay, sure. But these people have cancer out the gate, is what we're talking about. It's not just like a cold or sniffles, that they can recover from easily.
It doesn't have to be
So
that way. It can be people that have gotten into credit card debt later. It doesn't have to just be students that are in credit
it's
card
not
debt.
just students, it's everybody. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
it's
saying.
everybody.
That's my
Right.
point. So everyone is already have these issues, and then all of a sudden you're gonna boom cut them off. It's like, all right, well, we're like,
No, no. The people that have if they got 10,000 in credit card debt, they got a 10% cap on their credit going forward. Yeah, they may not be able to borrow anymore. They may not raise their cap, but they can pay it off at 10%.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, so what happens when they? I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah, what happens? So they're gonna have to find another
so
way. Yeah, yeah.
well, yeah. I don't know. I prefer honestly to let the free market work.
What if it
I
was
don't think it's
100%?
considered
What if it was
usury.
100% a year? Would you feel differently?
If it's no, not if it's
Okay.
equitable to the risk profile. I
Okay.
don't. The
By
riskier
the
you
way,
are,
I don't think it has very much to do with the risk profile. I think it has to do with the marketing. It has to do with the zero free for a year, and then we'll charge you 29% because they got to make up the zero. And then I think it has to do with all the gifts and gadgets that you get. If you use your credit card, you're going to get, 2% back and blah, 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 blah. Because I did the analysis. I had Croc do the analysis. So a ton of what's going on. Oh, and much more profit. The profit margin for Bank of America, what do you call it? The Visa profit margin is 45%. So
well,
you got four credit card companies that own 82, I think, percent of the market. So you got a monopoly, basically, is what you got.
I don't think that's how it works.
Well, if your margin is if you're paying 5% for your money, 6%, 4% for your money, and you're charging 29%, that's a pretty good margin.
Let me see something. Uh, yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah. Sorry, I just want to confirm that I wasn't wrong here. If Bank of America offers a credit card and it's a Visa, that debt that's on that credit card doesn't belong to Visa. Visa gets the transaction fee, right? Bank of America owns that debt. Same with like American Express with Delta or Ford when you go to, right. These credit card companies, they're the middleman.
Mhm,
They're the market maker, if you will,
mhm.
right? They're not the ones that are holding all the debt. It's not like Visa's the one sitting there holding all that debt.
But all of the amounts. So I think we could both do, but I think I'll do some more study on this week because the Grok analysis said that the credit card companies, which there's only four, are able to get much, much more in terms of their profit margin than they did, say, 50 years ago.
That's true because they have higher transaction fees. So like American Express has the highest,
Yeah,
then it's Visa.
right.
Stripe is kind of like in the mid tier. PayPal is actually kind of high.
Yeah, so they have
Uh,
the transaction fee, but
yeah,
obviously there's also an amount. I don't know how, that's what I say. I don't know how it works on the other side. Does Visa get a piece of whatever's happening with the person who sent out the credit card? I don't know. Maybe I don't know if they get a piece of that action or not.
I mean, I'm reading here. Visa makes money by charging small fees to financial institutions and merchants for every transaction processed on its network,
Mhm.
primarily through network assessment fees, data processing fees, and international service fees. Instead of issuing cards, Visa acts as the intermediary, collecting a fraction of a percentage. That's it. That's how they make their money.
Okay. All right. Okay.
They're
All right.
just they're skimming from the top.
So
It's no different like when you buy a stock. How does the
okay.
brokerage company make money?
Right. Right. Pennies. Yeah.
Transactions. That's it.
Yeah. All right, we'll get back to this one next week. I want to keep it going. Okay,
Yeah.
and finally, just to wrap it up here, maybe we'll do it in 2 minutes instead of 10. BlackRock, cut them out from buying houses if they maximum 100 houses or whatever?
Go for it. You're not going to affect BlackRock because everyone says BlackRock, and what they really mean is Blackstone.
Okay.
BlackRock just does a lot of the financing, but Blackstone is the and everyone does this.
Okay. All right.
Blackstone is the one that's actually guilty of or not guilty, but they're the ones that have actually been buying more. And it's not even them really. If you look at the percentages, like they're the boogeyman that's easy to make a boogeyman. Anyways, so what's your question about it
So
specifically?
should institutions be capped at 100 homes, or will that just create lots of little companies that buy 100 homes?
I um that's a hard, I'd have to think about that one. Um
They cause artificial shortages in neighborhoods. Wait for the
yeah,
price
no,
to go up.
I get the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Um I think there has to be like a certain balance that makes sense. Like I have no problem with a company buying up
Homes.
single family homes. I have no problem with that, right? So like if Randy LLC, wants to go buy 7 homes, like to me, like that's a small business that
Right.
you have.
Right. Mhm.
It's different when you're at the scale of these type of companies. That's where the problem comes in to me.
Mhm.
So, and then you also want to avoid loopholes, right? You don't want them to start having a whole bunch of little LLCs,
Right. Right. Right.
right? So I would not want to disincentivize the most landlords are small businesses,
Mhm.
right? Or people like you and me. We're both landlords,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
I wouldn't want to disincentivize that.
No.
So there'd have to be a criteria almost, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that would be. You'd have to do some good studying for that. But in general, I don't like the idea of banning, but I also don't like the idea of monopolizing areas or big institutions coming in and, like you said, kind of cratering and just creating a rent-only market. And it should also probably, I mean, you could like make rules, kind of like you have in the state. Like you can't be the governor of a state unless you've lived there for a certain amount of time. Like, all right, if you're gonna be a main property, and I know you might not like this, but like if you're gonna own multiple properties, right, it has to have been your primary residence for a certain amount of time, or you have to live in that state, or you have to somehow have to give back to the community or something.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but I feel like that should be kind of protected. The same way I love Ron DeSantis' idea of if it's your home residence, you don't pay capital gain or you don't pay
Right.
any property
Property tax.
taxes on it.
Yeah.
But if it's your second property
You
or if
do.
you have an investment property, yeah, that pays taxes. Like something where you can allow the free market to do its thing,
Mhm.
allow cities to still collect the revenue, but you kind of create a little shield
Sure.
for people who are trying to buy their homes.
Yeah.
And we have that, everywhere, right? Like if you buy your home now and you live in it for 2 years
Mhm.
out of the last five, you don't pay any capital gain tax on the first
Right.
250,000 if you're married,
Right.
right? Or 500 if you maybe, or
500,000.
whatever it is.
Mhm.
Right. So like we have those things, but that a corporation wouldn't be able to get away with that.
Right.
So if you could have a carve out like that, I think that'd be smart. But you'd have to think about it and
Sure.
battle test idea.
All right, let's look at the numbers. We've got Tesla up in the pre-market at a buck 58. Actually, I don't know what it is because I didn't go to Robinhood. Yeah, and see.
Everything's up right now.
Is it? Well, you've got it handy. Go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, sure. Got 4% battery here. I should charge my phone more. Um, let's see. Tesla, ooh, up $2.20.
Okay, all right. Maybe we'll get back.
$2.
Maybe we'll get back to even before the morning.
Hey, that'd be nice.
Right.
And I mean, just to continue real quick, Nvidia is up 0.5%, up 95 cents, almost at 190. And Meta is up $2 to 170 or 675. And just for good measure, since we're going to talk about it tomorrow, Microsoft is up another also $2.80, call it $3. So yeah, pretty much everything's up right now.
Okay. All right. Now, I also did a study, but we won't have time to talk about it tonight. Something maybe you can think about for next week. I read an article. I reported on this, and then everybody started reporting on it yesterday. I'm curious, just kind of a quick number, a quick thought. People are now saying gold, silver, the dollar, and bond prices right now are all reflective of the Japanese carry trade coming off, being unwound.
Um,
It doesn't mean 100% of what's happened to those things.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That's what it sounded like
Yeah.
you said. Like it's
Oh,
all
I'm
priced
sorry.
in.
No, that part of the reason why they're out of control, that they're not normal right now, is the Japanese carry trade.
I think it's three things. I think it's that. I think it's geopolitical tensions, uh, for potential conflict, and I think it has to do with our debt and how we keep rising it and everything happening now again with the government shutdown and all that mess. So I think there's more than one thing, uh, but yeah, the unwinding of the arbitrage of our bond market with the Japanese bond market and all that. Yeah, that's probably a big part of it.
Okay, speaking of the 10-year, it's at 4.229, or let's just call it 4.30. I'm 4.23. And again, I've really tried to study this bond thing, as you know, for months and months and months, and it just seems like there's no other significant thing happening to the 10-year bond or the 30, all the long bonds uh, that should have it at these numbers when we were at 3.99 a few weeks ago.
Yeah, the bonds are probably the most reflective
Yeah.
of the yen carry trade. Um, it is actually really surprising to see how little impact the um, rate cuts we've had have actually had on the bond markets in general. I
It
mean,
went the other way.
the, yeah, exactly. The vigilantes are saying, I don't care,
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah. Oil sitting right, it's a little higher actually today, 62.57, so a tad higher, but still in the same range it's been in. Natural gas finally found its nadir. It's down 7.61%. But yeah, I guess maybe heard there was another cold snap coming, but I think maybe maybe the gas just ran out of gas.
I mean, we'll see what happens with Venezuela. It seems like there might be some more noise over there.
A little more noise. Yeah, it does. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's impacting right now. Gold up 1.7 to 5,169. Silver up 7% to 113.46. Is there any cap?
Well, doesn't seem like it right now. I mean, that's not even the interesting. The interesting thing is what I know we're about to get to is, and it's hard to not talk about it right now, but Bitcoin is just not
Not,
participating.
not.
Wow, you see what's happening with gold, with silver, the bonds. I mean, everything like you would this is the moment. Like if this is exactly what if I told you everything that was happening, but I didn't tell you what was happening with gold, silver, Bitcoin, you
Right.
would tell me, oh, it's happening. We are moving off of fiat.
Right. Right.
And I would tell you, hey, it kind of looks like that way, but it ain't going to Bitcoin. You never would have believed me 2 years ago.
Yeah. 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 Well, Bitcoin's doing a little better today. It's still under
I
90 though. It's at 89,278, up 16.19. Ethereum has popped back above 3,000 again to 3,015. It's up 3.68 for the day.
just
But
just to be a little unbiased or intellectually honest, if I would have told you everything that Tesla has accomplished up to this point, this time 2 years ago,
yeah.
I probably also would have been like, wow, that's kind of disappointing that we're only where we're at. And at the same time, wow, that's all we've gotten to in 2026.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just to keep things fair,
Sure,
I
sure,
don't want to
sure.
completely poo-poo on Bitcoin.
Right. Okay, we've got the Dow up zero point zero 0.01 in the pre-market. We've got the S&P up 0.25 and NASDAQ up 0.55. So not, there's been a little pre-running of tomorrow's numbers, but maybe it's being held back by the Fed. I mean, but nobody, we've known for weeks that the Fed's not going to raise tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you what, tomorrow is going to be, I think, a very volatile day.
Yeah,
I think tomorrow is going to be chaotic in what I hope to be all the right ways.
right.
Like I hope it's a lot of nothing throughout the whole day,
Yeah,
like up and down, crazy swings. But that by the time we get to the earnings, Q4 earnings, like you hope that they look really good, really strong. Hopefully these companies come out and say some good stuff. I mean, I I think all these companies are actually set up to have a good move moving forward, but we'll see. I mean, it, if I look at like Meta, for example, right now, Meta is it can run up some more, that's for sure. And if I look at Tesla right now, um, it also it also looks like to move up some more from here, but it's tomorrow's gonna be a very big day for Tesla,
yeah,
not just because of earnings, but just structurally
the
for the way
call
the stock is. Yeah,
and
but
structure.
well, just the stock. Yeah, either we're gonna go down to 420 and below, or we can have a nice rally. So,
Right, right.
and I know that seems like obvious, but I'm saying
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
if we
yeah,
fall down, we're
yeah,
gonna fall down.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, then let's wrap it up for today. We've managed, of course, to go over an hour again, but that's what we do when Nicholas Gibbs is on. So it's okay. Um, and nobody seems to care. They
Well, it's
listen,
good.
they listen anyway. Nick Gibbs, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And to all
Likewise.
you folks out there, it's been great talking to you.
Cheers.